black students, we need to know our history.
The black history we're being taught in public schools is repetitive.
As a black high school student, I want to learn more about my history in the school books.
We need to update our books.
As black American students, we deserve an accurate depiction of what history truly is.
I want to see myself in these textbooks.
In the public school system, black history is vague.
Why don't the school books ever talk about the Freedmen's Bureau?
I created the workbook for the African American family. This book helps fill in the gaps that the school books don't. Purchase the workbook for the African American family on OurStoryPublications.com and use the Cash App $ Our Story Publications.
The question boils down to, what do you have to offer the Black American community? Wani brought up a point that the Black American community is relatively small. How many people we got, Wani? 46?
I can say 40, 50 million.
Yeah, 40 million people as opposed to a billion people. My point is
1.3 billion and 200 million in Nigeria alone.
Wow, that 0.3 is how many times? Damn, that 0.3 is 6 times more people than we have in the FBAs than we have in the United States. So the question is real simple, straight to the point. What do they have to offer us? What do I mean? I have seen in my career West African and African immigrants come over here and benefit from our institutions, historical black colleges, grant programs. A really good friend of mine from New York, told me that in Brooklyn, where she moved from, she lived in an apartment when she worked for a television for NBC, ABC, one of them. And she was making like, $70,000 in New York, which is nothing. She had a struggle apartment that was $2,500 a month or something like that, a little room in Brooklyn. And she said the apartment was full of Nigerians who all were on Section 8. Up until that point, I was not aware that an immigrant can get Section 8. How is that possible? My point is they're benefiting off of our when I say our, I mean the United States institutions, particularly foundational Black American institutions. And she brought that point up because she said the Nigerians in the apartment she was paying $2,500 for, just rent alone, would always write her up if she played music. She would have parties every once in a while with her friends, and they write, "You are too loud. You're making too much noise. We're trying to sleep." So she's an American, and they're always snitching on her, and they on Section 8. So back to the point at hand, I'm asking the essential question. What do they have to offer? I.e., what are their talents? Are they offering us anything? Wani, are West Africans talented?
No.
End of space.
End of space. Good night. No, they don't have any talents that I've been able to identify, and I've been researching this over and over and over again, even using AIs repeatedly, thinking, hey, I might get another answer. Even Grok was on that, kick earlier today where, let's get back to this. They don't have any sports legends. They don't have any music legends. The only music genre was something that was gifted to them by James Brown. And they're just not, I don't find them to be logical, because at the same time that they're taking things from us and asking us for things, they're insulting us. And it's kind of something that I just heard another African say. I think this woman was from Ghana. She said insult you while they're talking to you. And so they will call you a crackhead baby mama on Section 8, but can you send me 35 cents for Red Cross rice? In the same sentence. And this is exactly what Fela Kuti did. He came over to New York, mooched a music genre off of James Brown, followed him around to get a music genre. They wrote some articles and books about the meeting. He goes back over to Nigeria with this, Africanized hip hop or Africanized new music genre. And then he says, too bad about jazz. If you had been in your homeland, you would have been able to have better drums, which shows a basic fundamental misunderstanding about what jazz is. It's not about drums. Drums are even optional half the time. He insulted jazz, but I want to cuss right now, but I'm not going to. I just want to let you know. The basic attitude that these people display is that they use your things and then they insult you while they're using it. And that's what he did with jazz. He insulted jazz. Hanging all over it while he was using a music genre given to him by the same people that he said botched jazz, and the music that he used elements of jazz. The botched music that he just insulted. The way that they act is why everyone is banning them. They are not fixable. They're cooked. They're done. They're not able to go to civilization or be in anyone else's country without being offensive and insulting. And that is where most of this problem is coming from. So no, I have not identified any talents. They don't even have the ability to be nice or civilized. They are just going at your throat when you're having polite conversation with them and trying to help them.
Yes, that happened to me directly at Lemoyne-Owen College when I was faculty there. There was an African professor. I do a lot of things. I carry a camera when I do research. A cheap little Canon camera, and I take pictures of evidence when I'm writing articles so I can cite the picture. Well, I create documentaries. That's a hot hobby of mine. I'm no good at it for real, but I'm getting better. But I did a documentary on the homecoming one year that was fabulous by accident. It just came together beautifully, and I shared it with the faculty and staff, and they used it on the website. Well, it was an African professor, a Nigerian, who kept emailing me, "Hey, Professor A, can I have your film? Can I have the documentary?" I was like, "I sent it to you." And I sent it to him again. He's like, no, send it to me. Send me the documentary. I sent it to him again. And he said, "Meet with me." So I met with him, and he said, "No, I don't want the documentary. I want your raw footage so I can make my own documentary." That's the attitude, is I want what you got so I can make something and put my name on it. He said that to my face. I couldn't believe that he was asking me for that. Can you imagine doing raw work and somebody asking you for free to give me your raw data without your name on it so I can create my own thing, probably sell it and put my name on it like I made it? It's just normal in their culture to do that. And I don't know why, Wani. I was so offended.
They don't seem to know social cues. And like I said, they're highly offensive to people. And I think that it's going to end in a complete disaster at some point, because people are not going to put up with that. And people are getting very, very angry with their presence and their attitude and the arrogance and the entitlement. And everything about them is just offensive. That's just the way they roll.
It goes back to... go ahead, Wani.
No, go ahead.
It goes back to the tribalism that Dr. Claude Anderson talked about when he said that there's no sense of community outside the village in West Africa. And I've seen that with my own eyes. Every little village. First and foremost, y'all, for those who don't know, in Ghana, per se, and Nigeria and Benin, they have little villages. And in the village, every village has a queen mother, not a queen, a queen mother. So they have their own maternal power structure hierarchy. I'm saying that to say that they don't identify with other villages. I'm under this queen mother. I'm under that queen mother. So internally, they're conflicted for some reason. I would like to do research as to where that internal conflict and village identification came from, because I don't know where that came from. But that goes to the point of when that person from that village gets over here, he or she identifies with a specific group within their own demographic. And everybody else is perceived as an enemy, except for white folks, because white folks are, viewed as God.
Now, speaking of West Africans, I was even trying to say when the Pan-Africanists made up a backstory for these people, they didn't even get the outfit right, because the kufi is a Muslim hat worn by people of the Muslim faith.
Facts.
It's not specifically about West Africans. The dashiki is also all over the place. And then they wanted us to speak Swahili, which is East African, the Swahili coast. So they didn't even have their history together. And I don't understand why. It's not that hard. I mean, just how could all the Pan-Africanists not be educated enough to at least have one person that knows about the dress and specific things about the area you're trying to replicate or reach out to? But I found it very interesting that although Pan-Africans are extremely uneducated on what African cultures are, Grok repeats their lies. So one of the lies is that, of course, we get everything from Africa, and that Africans brought over gumbo, and they named gumbo, and they are the reason that we cook gumbo. So when you really get logical on it, I was asking Grok these questions, and I said, Grok said that they put these okra seeds in their hair, and I said, well, when did they do it? Because they are being chased around by slave catchers, beat up, raped, thrown into dungeons for months to weeks to months, chained on a slave ship, taken across the ocean. Mind you, the groceries are still in their hair. Broken on a Caribbean island, and then they're brought to Louisiana, and they start making the gumbo with the seeds in their hair. Okay, so then I said, how do they do that? And this imbecile said they knew they were going to be captured. So some Africans were psychic. This Grok is not going to just take an L, right? This Grok wants to go down bad, real bad. So instead of just saying, okay, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. They couldn't have done all that with seeds in their hair. Plus, okay, so you put some seeds in your hair because you're psychic and you know somebody's going to kidnap you and drag you to a dungeon to be sold. Okay. And then you do what? Grow the seeds over in the New World? And then you make the gumbo? Gumbo is not an African word. It's a Portuguese word. Hello. Because they didn't even know what these people were babbling about. One of them was saying kablumbo, another one was saying kumpa, another one was clicking in their ears. So the white boy just said, I'll just call it gumbo. And I will get some okra and bring it over to the New World. Africans did not transport groceries to the New World. That is another fantastical story from Pan-Africanists. The European brought them tomatoes and chocolate and other things over to their peanuts, tomatoes, things that they didn't have. And also brought over okra and some stuff from West Africa. The African has somehow convinced itself that it transported groceries and cooking techniques over here. And there is absolutely no proof of that. And then when I questioned Grok, I was told that it was oral history and it's verified by other oral history, so that makes it a fact. And I said, well, just show me the oral history. I'm fine, show it to me. Show me two people saying this tripe about transporting all this food up in your head. Show it to me. I've never even seen women like that with all kinds of hair to do that. Every time I see people on slave ships, they have their hair shaved, believe it or not. So that doesn't even fit with what I've seen, physically have seen on images of people being transported on French slave ships. But whatever, these Pan-African lies are very persistent. And even Grok has to admit after a while, yeah, it couldn't be that way. It's impossible. Or either it will shut down and refuse to answer, but it cannot have happened that way. And that's just the end of the statement.
Right. It's a big lie. But Wani, what you just said points to the shows evidence that Pan-Africanism is allegedly a government operation, because it's centralized, and it's just too tactical, in my opinion, to be like organic. You know, I think that's always been the objective. I was telling my students that today, that it comes from a centralized source, and anything centralized is bad. Do y'all know centralization is bad? Where am I getting this from? I'm getting it from Dr. And he's not a PhD, he's a medical doctor. Doggone it. What's the white guy? He's a surgeon. His name will come to my head in a minute. But there's a prominent white surgeon that was talking about the human body and how the things, he was talking about centralized power is dangerous. He said the body's not centralized. The body stores information in different places. Your brain's not the only place that stores information. Your muscles store information. Your heart stores information. Your DNA stores information. How does this relate to what we're talking about? Is assuming that the human body is a perfect design, which it is. Why? Because everything is useful is designed after the human body. This computer we're on is designed after our brain. The engine in your car is designed after your liver. Everything goes back to us. Well, whoever, the creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whoever created, or whatever, I'm going to say whoever created the human body, had wisdom enough to know not to centralize information. And his surgeon, Jack Cruz is his name, Dr. Jack Cruz. He's the one that talked about blue light is destroying us. Jack Cruz said the body's not centralized, and anything centralized can be corrupted. Cancer starts off centralized. So this whole centralized Pan-Africanism is so poisonous. Like Wani said, the kente cloth and the headdresses and stuff, that's not even West African culture. I saw kente cloth. We went to the market and I saw kente cloth was for sale. I bought some clothes, just to buy stuff. And a lot of that stuff was from China, or a lot of it was designed. I have a kente blazer made. It has Egyptian words on it, and I was like, "Why are y'all writing with Egyptian metanetter? That's not West African culture." When we went out in the bush, I did see kente cloth being made. It was impressive in a long process, but what I'm trying to say is the kente cloth that is indigenous to Ghana, northern Ghana, or West Africa, and is specific per region, and the kente cloth that Pan-Africans are wearing is not even centralized to a region. It's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo to present an identity. Why? Like I told my students, to take the Black Americans' mind off of our land-based identity, which is the United States of America. Dr. Ward, what's on your mind?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I would like to speak to the question before the space. Are West Africans talented? Well, if we say talent is something that leaves an impression, a positive impression on one's mind, I don't know anything talented about Africans. I mean, their music is not a worldwide phenomenon. Their dress is not a worldwide phenomenon. You talk about the kente cloth and all that stuff, and they wear it like they stole their grandmother's drapes. Nobody wants to dress like that. I'm not trying to put down these people. They have a lot of potential. I really believe that. I mean, I don't think these people can be just written off. I mean, I don't believe that about anybody. I think that every human being has potential. But I'm just trying to think.
What about the 0 to 5 factor?
Okay, ma'am. Yes. Yes, that has an everlasting effect on a human mind, but it's after they've been born. It's not something that's prenatal. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't believe people are mentally genetically inferior. I believe if I took a West African child and I raised them, yeah, they would be, functional, talented, and stuff like that. Or if any child was given a fair chance at life. So, but yeah, when you squander that 0 to 5 window, yeah, you destroy the potential of that individual to be talented and to go on and to do great things. And I have met some West Africans who are very talented, and they forced me to step up my game. So I know they're out there, but the fact of the matter is, there's not a critical mass of them to move and shake the world into something new. Yeah, I mean, they talk and some of the things you were mentioning, Miss Wani. I always thought gumbo was a Choctaw word. You say it's a Portuguese word? Okay. I mean,
well, okay. Based on the fact that they were calling stuff gumbumbo and different words that might sound like gumbo, but it wasn't gumbo. And so the Portuguese person said, this is gumbo. Now, I don't know where they got it from. See, that's the issue. We just know that that's not a direct African word, and that the Portuguese were speaking to multiple people. The Portuguese guy could have come over here and heard it from someone else.
Yes. Okay. So we are in rough agreement that it's not African. Yeah, I give you that. Because here in you were talking about they brought him here to Louisiana. Well, I've done some genealogical research, and on my mama's side of the family, the slaves that I traced, they came from Virginia, they came from Kentucky, and I can't trace on my mom's side a direct lineage to West Africa. So so when they brought them over, when the slaves they brought over here, I mean, fewer than 500,000 were brought, and then today we're just this exponential growth. That's a little mathematically questionable. But that's just me. So yeah, I mean, I really don't know what's positively impressionable about West Africans. I mean, if someone can come up in here and tell me, I would like to hear it. And the other, we haven't gotten to it, but what is Gullah Geechee culture? It's just part of FBA culture. I yield the mic.
Yeah, we're going to get to Gullah Geechee culture because Wani taught me a little bit about it that I didn't know. But y'all are going to be surprised with the answer. Go ahead, Dwayne. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I wanted to say, when it comes to West Africans and the culture or whatever, so I was thinking about what Seventh Ward was saying and the prenatal part and over time how DNA changes. And so I do question if with them being colonized, because listen to how these Africans operate, they operate like colonizers. They want to colonize everything that they see. And it's not just FBA culture, but they also try to colonize Caribbean culture in various different ways. I saw an African trying to speak in patois or whatever the case may be, and he was actually talking to a person who was Jamaican. And,
they can have it.
Right. These are the things that they're trying to do. To me, they operate like colonizers. And I do question when a mother, and I've said this before, that a mother is the child's first teacher. And for people who heard me say that and felt that I was being a feminist, let me expound for the people in the back of the short bus. What I mean by that is because the child is with the mother for the first 9 months of its from conception to growth. It's with the mother for 9 months. So whatever she's saying, whatever she's doing, whatever she's eating, all of those things, the child is right there with her the whole time. So the child is learning and picking up and even picking up culture. So if by chance this mother is a scammer, that baby is listening to all of those scams. All of this is happening. So no different than how we as foundational Black Americans, our DNA has been changed by what has happened to us in this country or our ancestors and so on and so forth. Certain things have been passed down to us. There are certain things that we can communicate to each other without ever using words, because our DNA has been altered and our ancestors and our elders have passed down certain things to us so that we're able to communicate with each other about certain things without ever having to say a word. And other people outside the culture have no idea what it means or what we're talking about. So I do think that with that, I do think that possibly there could be some DNA altering or prenatal issues happening as the mother is carrying the child, or she's in the village, or she's, running from, fleeing from place to place, scamming and whatever else it is. These things are picked up. So yeah, you could possibly take that child out of the environment, no different than a child who is taken at birth from a mother who was on drugs or an alcoholic. You could take that child. Losing Isaiah is a good movie. They took that little boy. It was the movie with Halle Berry. Halle Berry was on drugs.
Old school.
They took that little. Yes, they took that little boy from her. Oh, well, because she left the baby in the trash by the dumpster because she wanted to go get high.